to selective sanity. That's the way I be.
What up, baby dolls? It's your girl, Tessa Evelyn Scott, and I am thrilled to welcome you to my brand new podcast, Selective Sanity. So whether you have been following me since day one, back in 2015, when I was just a faceless meme page, or you're a new friend just joining along for the ride, either way, we can folk now, baby. And I am so excited to have y'all along on this journey with me. So you know what? I should probably have a name for y'all. Oh, I want to be able to greet you guys warmly every episode with a cute little nickname, you know? So Chaos Committee is one I was throwing around. My Sanity Circle. The Selective Collective. It's too wordy. Santa Maniacs. What the fuck? I actually fucking love that. Hey, Santa Maniacs, titties out for the weekend. Yeah, that works. That feels good. Does that feel good for you? It would not be sounding like a man that just left you unsatisfied in bed. Okay, getting back on track. If you're wondering what this podcast is about, honestly, it's about everything. Pop culture, reality TV, Hollywood, dating, friendships, horrible decisions, internet nonsense, career advice that nobody asked for, and the occasional existential crisis, of course. Basically, if it's something I talk to my bestie about over shots and nacho fries, it's probably going to end up on this microphone. See, I want this weekly hour that we spend together to feel less like a podcast and more like we're sitting on my couch after work shooting the shit. Very much, girl, let me tell you what happened this week type energy. Now, if you're down with those vibes, but you're still wondering who the hell is this Tessa bitch, fair. So allow me to introduce myself. Hi. I'm your new internet bestie. I'm 39 years old, but spiritually 27. I'm a Sagittarius, which honestly explains everything. I live with my incredible girlfriend and our 6 cats and 2 dogs. My favorite band is Linkin Park. My favorite movie is The Notebook. And as for my resume, oh, baby, where do I even begin? I have served in the United States Navy. I was a midnight ballerina, aka stripper, for 6 years. I've played roller derby, became a foster mom. I've been to jail 4 times, but don't worry, we will unpack this all later because every one of those stories deserves its own episode. And as of right now, I am a TV writer trying to claw my way through Hollywood, one script and one rejection at a time. So yeah, basically I've lived like 17 different lives already, and every single chapter taught me something different. So that got me thinking, Tessa, why are you gatekeeping all of this? You know, I'm literally sitting on decades worth of educational disasters, life hacks, Hollywood tea, relationship observations, career mistakes, and under other random tidbits of wisdom that honestly feels selfish not to share with the world. So every week we're going to laugh. We're going to gossip. We're going to overanalyze reality television like it's a therapy session. We're going to talk about movies, life, dating, careers, internet drama, mental health, ambition, and whatever else my ADHD decides I'm obsessed with that week. So yeah, some episodes may be hilarious. Some may be deep. But either way, I hope this podcast becomes your comfort show because life is chaotic enough, you know? And we don't need to be sane all the time. Just selectively. You see what I did there? So enough about me. Let's get into today's episode.
You are listening to Selective Sanity. Selective Sanity.
I'm gonna call this next little segment the Hollywood Hustle because this is the part of the podcast where I will pull back the curtain on the inner workings of show business, baby. We are going to talk about the entertainment industry and how it actually works, how to break into it, and all the other little Hollywood tidbits that I wish someone had told me years ago. And since this is episode 1, I figured I would answer the question that I get more than any other. Tessa, how the hell did you become a TV writer? Which is a fair question because here's something that absolutely blew my mind the first time I heard it. It is actually harder to become a working writer in television in Hollywood than to become a football player in the NFL. Yeah. Yeah, there are more people getting tackled for a living than there are getting paid to write television. So, if you ever looked at Hollywood and thought, damn, that seems impossible, honestly, you ain't crazy. It is incredibly competitive. But competitive don't mean impossible, babes. Also, I'm clearing my voice because I really need you guys to hear this part. I need you guys to know that everyone wants to know the blueprint, right? The shortcut route of someone telling you what to do and how to do it and immediately getting everything you've always dreamed of. Yeah, it's cute. And I wanted that too. And every successful person I asked gave me the same annoying answer. Everybody's path is different. Ugh. I hated hearing that. Real talk, I just wanted someone to hand me the cheat code. But turns out them bitches were right. There isn't one. There's just a whole bunch of weird, unpredictable moments. So here's how mine went down. After getting out of the Navy, I attended film school, but I actually went to school for acting, not writing. It wasn't even until I was almost done with my benefits until I realized I even had enough credits to squeeze in one last semester. And so I decided to go to screenwriting. So, yeah, for one semester, 3 months. That is my entire formal writing education, okay? Everything else is self taught. So if you were ever sitting there thinking, well, I didn't go for school to writing, so I can't do this, congratulations. Neither did a lot of professional writers. Just watch great television, read great scripts, and then write terrible scripts of your own until they become great. That's the education, my loves. So by this point, I had been writing for like 5 years and I had a stack of scripts under my belt. But see, my problem wasn't writing the scripts, it was getting anybody important to actually read them because Hollywood truly is like trying to get into the VIP section of a Miami nightclub on a holiday weekend. Yeah, it don't matter how cute your outfit is. If nobody on the list knows your name, sweetie, you ain't getting in. So what you need is representation, an agent, a manager, somebody whose email people will actually open. I just knew, y'all. I knew if I could get one manager to believe in me, then they could start sending me out for meetings and introducing me to producers and setting me up for writer's room, and I would be set. But to get the attention of a manager, you have to have some kind of industry validation, right? Being accepted into a prestigious fellowship or like winning a writing competition, which by the way, I learned years after I applied to many a fellowship that a lot of those competitions aren't nearly as merit-based as they like to pretend, but that's a story for another day. Anyways, I didn't know that yet. So the one card that I had up my sleeve was that I could write well and fast. So I bet on myself writing a script that would just have everyone talking about it. Easy, right? So at the time, I was a stripper, random sidebar. I know, but it's relevant. Give me a sec. So by night, I was catering to bitch ass men by day. And it gave me the motivation to, by day, write a pilot script called Eight Wheeled Assassins about a group of PTA moms who secretly belong to a vigilante murder group that gets rid of the abusive men in their quaint suburban neighborhood. Yeah, I just, yeah, I knew this was the script that would have people talking, and I was convinced it would be my golden ticket. But once I finished the script and started emailing it out to managers and agents, crickets, baby. I heard nada. Completely ghosted. Mind you, I emailed like 60 different people and nothing, just silence. That's when I realized I may be aiming too high, you know? So instead of trying to convince the biggest managers in town to gamble on a complete nobody, I figured, why don't I find someone who's also on the up and up like me? Someone who's young, someone who's hungry, someone who's looking for their big break too. So I got on the old Facebook and started to research. I looked up all the management companies that I admired, and then I went and stalked all the junior managers at the bottom of the agency food chain. And wouldn't you know it, after sending out over 100 emails, 3 of them finally replied. And then after requesting and reading my script, only one of them replied. But one was all I needed, baby. Her name was Audrey. Shout out to my homegirl because she genuinely changed my life. She actually happened to follow me on Instagram, which is amazing. She thought I was cool. She liked my script. Do y'all see how important social media is? Anyways, she brought me into the management office to meet with one of the partners, my number one main man, Mr. Jeff Silverman. Love you, killer. And I will never forget the first time we met because he was not impressed by me at all. Okay. I had no writing credits, no experience. He was actually visibly annoyed that Audrey had even brought me in and wasted his time. And yeah, and because I could tell that I was losing him, I just decided, fuck it, I'm gonna have some fun. So I told him all about how I'm a stripper and I deal with lame white guys like him every day, but at least they tip me before sending me away. And that stopped him in his tracks. Yeah, turns out he wasn't just looking for someone who could write. He was looking for someone with a real story to tell. Because let's face it, y'all, at the end of the day, Hollywood ain't just selling scripts, they are selling storytellers. So Jeff, Audrey, and I, we continued to talk. He read my script, he loved it, signed me, and my life changed almost overnight after years of absolutely nothing happened. See, that's the part that nobody talks about, y'all. People think that overnight success means it happens fast. Because if that was true, I'd be more successful. Hello, this was 2019. We're talking about that was like 7 years ago. So, anyways, within days, Jeff had me meeting producers, executives, other writers. It was a whole new ballgame for me because screenwriting school had only taught me how to write a script, not how to handle yourself in exec meetings after you've written one that people actually like. So I was for real faking it till I made it. And believe it or not, one of my very first meetings was with the producers who had the rights to make a reimagining of a single white female. They asked me if I was familiar with the original, and I was like, am I familiar? Oh, baby, I could tell you one better because something like that actually happened to me in real life. They were gagged. Eyes huge. Okay, they said, hold up. Someone became obsessed with you and tried to sabotage your life? And I was like, oh, no, no, I'm actually the other one in this scenario. And the producers lost it. They were laughing so hard. And, you know, it was really in that moment that I learned something incredibly valuable in the industry. And that is that sometimes the thing that you're embarrassed by is the story that other people will remember you for. So, yeah, they ate that shit up. And we ended up developing the project together and preparing to pitch it to Lifetime. But y'all, before we could even start the pitch, the Lifetime execs literally warned us, like, hey, just so you know, we're not really buying anything right now. We're only taking this meeting because we're friends of the producers, which is a Hollywood code for don't get your hopes up, kid. You ain't selling the script. Cool. Great. Love to hear that right before I get the most important presentation of my life, right? So I pitched it anyways, and let me tell you, Mom is a natural, okay? A true pitching machine. I sold the hell out that story. And I must credit my acting degree there because, writing gets you in the room, but pitching, that's a performance. So by the time we wrapped up, Lifetime was fucking down. They loved it. They actually ended up changing their minds in the room. So they bought it right then and there. And that is how Single Black Female was born. Plus, I shit you not, it ended up becoming Lifetime's #1 non-holiday movie that year. It actually did so well that they ordered a sequel. And then a third. Yeah, I for real ended up writing a whole ass trilogy because of one meeting, which is still insane to me, but Hollywood is insane. So anywhere you break in, it's gonna be your own story of craziness. So yeah, those Movie has eventually led to me getting staffed on season 2 of the hit Star series P Valley. I got to write for a viral web series and receive hella opportunities through GLAAD, which opened doors I didn't even know existed. So when people ask me, how do you break into Hollywood? My answer is you get really good at whatever you do, you become super interesting, and you keep showing up. And then eventually, opportunity and preparation will bump right into each other, bitch. Now, if you would have told stripper era Tessa that one day she'd be sitting in a writer's room selling movies and getting paid to make stories up for a living, I probably would have laughed at you in your face and then asked if you wanted to lap dance. But now look at me, y'all. I did that shit. And I still continue to do it because my goals in Hollywood are far from achieved. So I got a lot of work to do. But if y'all are down, I'd love to bring you along with me on this journey. So until next time, Santa Maniacs, this has been your Hollywood Hustle.
You are listening to Selective Sanity. Selective Sanity.
Now, if y'all been rocking with me since day one, then you probably remember a little segment I used to do back in 2018, 2019 called Ask Tessa, where y'all submitted questions and I responded with some real ass answers that you wouldn't get in a therapist's office. Well, ever since I stopped giving y'all advice, y'all have been hitting up my DMs asking me to bring it back. And wouldn't you know it, today's the day, baby. So welcome to the Sanity Hotline. Earlier this week, I had you guys submit your questions via Instagram story. So let's see what you guys are going through, shall we? Hi, I'm a 33-year-old female, and I'm what my friends lovingly call a hard girl. If a man says something slick, I bark back immediately. I don't care if it's a guy I'm dating, my male roommate, my brother, whoever. If I feel disrespected, I'm matching energy every single time. The problem is, it always turns into an argument, and I never actually get what I want in the first place. So, how do I stand my ground with these annoying ass men without every conversation becoming World War III? Baby girl, you came to the right place. And today's lesson, it comes straight from my former stripper days. So I'm talking boots on the ground research, okay? See, one thing stripping gonna teach you is that every man thinks he's different. Whether it's your finance bros, your tough guys, your loners, or those slick ass players that mask as empathetic. They all think they're one of a kind, but let me tell you something. In reality, they are all exactly the same. Because every last one of them walked into that club wanting something from me. But what they failed to realize was that I wanted something from them too, to empty their fucking wallets. So I had to learn very quickly that if you want something from a man, your approach matters way more than your argument. And ladies, their egos, oh my God, their egos are more fragile than their weak little balls. So you have to handle those things like it's a brand new Birkin. Delicate. Now trust me, I know that's not what y'all want to hear. And you're probably thinking, why the fuck would I baby a grown ass man? Well, the answer to that is because you want something. You want him to apologize. You want him to clean the kitchen. You want him to stop acting like a mouth breathing Neanderthal, whatever it is, girl. You're trying to achieve an outcome, right? And if your goal is the outcome instead of winning the argument, then sometimes you got to get soft. Not become soft, portray soft, okay? Real talk, every woman is an Emmy-winning actress when she needs to be. So clock in to your soft side and then clock her back out, because look, here's what I've learned about men. The second they think they're in a competition with you, they stop listening. They are no longer trying to solve the problem, they're trying to win. And if they think you're trying to put them in their place, oh girl, now they are willing to die on the dumbest hill you've ever seen. Also, when I say girl, I'm referring to gay boys too. Hey, love y'all. So let this man think that he won. I know. Y'all gonna hate me for this, but sometimes to win, you must first admit defeat. I'm sorry, babe. I didn't mean it like that. You're right on this one. Hell, shed a tear if you got to, because something magical happens when a man feels like he's won, right? He suddenly becomes soft. And now you're getting responses like, oh, babe, I didn't mean to yell, or, I love you, or come on, let's go get your nails done, or come on, let's hit the clearance rack at sales. Whatever your man's budget is ain't important. The principle is, once his bitch ass ego feels safe, he now suddenly feels willing to give you everything you wanted in the first place. Now, please, oh my gosh, before the comment section starts typing in all caps, lighting my ass up, I'm not saying women should never stand up for themselves. Y'all absolutely should and win. What I'm saying is, if your objective is to get results rather than just winning the fight, then emotional strategy beats emotional warfare almost every single time. It's annoying, yeah, but sometimes the fastest way to win is by letting someone else believe they already did. And if that sounds a little manipulative, ding, 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 ding. Baby, stay tuned. There's loads more where that came from. So good luck and happy scamming. Oh my God, that was fun. I would say that I'm truly cut out for this. Should we read another one? Okay, let's do it. Hey, Tessa. I'm a 36-year-old female, and my best friend and I have been best friends ever since we worked our first job out of college together. That was 14 years ago. We still talk regularly, but over the years, our lives have gone in completely different directions, and we've ended up with really different perspectives on life. Recently, we got into the biggest fight we've ever had at our mutual friend's wedding over how she handled the bride's pre-ceremony meltdown. There was yelling, blaming, mean things were said, and we haven't spoken since. I don't really feel the need to be the bigger person, but I also don't want to wake up at 65 with no friends because I cut everyone off. Should I value the 14-year friendship and try to save it, or should I cut my losses and accept that I've lost yet another friend at this big ass age? Whoa. Yeah. Okay. First of all, I genuinely don't know if this one is a real question or if one of y'all is just trolling me, because as some of y'all may know, I literally just fell out with one of my best friends of 16 years. We also hosted a podcast together. Yeah, she's not here anymore. So, yeah. And our friendship, it basically quickly unraveled over the course of 2 days spent together on a Vegas brand trip. I won't get into the dramatic details yet, but I know that mental tug of war that you were talking about, that part where you're replaying every conversation in your head, right? Am I supposed to fight for this friendship, or am I just being stubborn, or is this friendship over? And here's what I've learned. I think that we have been taught in the past that if a friendship lasts a long time, we're supposed to keep it alive forever. Like years invested automatically equal years owed or something. But I don't actually believe that shit. I think some people are meant for an entire lifetime, and some people are only meant for one chapter or three. And both of those relationships can be equally meaningful. Like, think about your elementary school friends, your high school friends, your college friends, your coworker friends. All of those people served such an important purpose at the exact right time in your life. And in turn, they helped shape you into who you are today, right? But here's the thing. The version of you that they became friends with doesn't exist anymore, right? And neither does the version of them. So sometimes people don't betray us. They don't become bad people. They simply become different people. And that's okay, because not every relationship is supposed to survive every version of you. Now, am I telling y'all to drop every friend the second y'all argue? Absolutely not. Conflict is totes normal, and healthy friendships can survive random disagreements here and there. So the question I always ask myself is this: when I imagine repairing the friendship, am I excited by the thought of having this person back in my life? Or am I just uncomfortable with the idea of losing them? Because those are two different feelings. And if you're reaching out because you genuinely miss them, their company, their laugh, the way they make your life better, then your friendship is probably worth fighting for. But if you're reaching out just because 14 years sounds like too much history to throw away, or because you're feeling guilty because you don't want to be the bad guy, then babes, you might be fighting for the memories instead of the relationship. Ooh, bars. Moment of silence to let that sink in. And we're back. Now, another thing I have to pay attention to is every interaction, do I leave hanging out with this friend feeling lighter or heavier? Right? Because the more I grow, the more I realize that peace is one of the most valuable things I own. And the people closest to me should add to that peace, not constantly compete with it. So, to answer your question, sometimes all a friendship needs to survive is a conversation. Sometimes it's forgiveness, and sometimes it's a final moment of gratitude. Thank you for getting me through this chapter of my life. And now it's time to turn the page. And with that, I genuinely wish y'all the best. And if that includes repairing your friendship, then I hope y'all end up laughing about this years from now. But if it doesn't, just try to remember that endings create openings, okay? And somewhere out there is another friend who is about to fit the version of you that exists today. And you'll be fucking stoked that you cleared your friendship roster to find them. Best of luck, bestie. You guys, now me being a literal spiritual guru. Holy shit, I'm on fire, y'all. This podcast meant to be lit. Okay, so I would read another one, but I actually only got 2 submissions this week. And you just heard them. So let's hope we get a few more next week. Stay tuned, Sanimaniacs.
You are listening to Selective Sanity. Selective Sanity.
All right, y'all, it's time to climb into the time capsule. Every week, we are dusting off a piece of pop culture that had an absolute chokehold on us growing up. A TV show, a scandal, a commercial, a song, something that was completely normal to us back then, but today makes us look at our screen and go, how the hell did they let this shit air? And this week's artifact is a reality TV show so unbelievably early 2000s that it might as well be wearing a Von Dutch trucker hat. If you know, you know. We're talking about VH1's Charm School. Now, if you are too young to remember the show, first of all, congratulations on your healthy childhood. Because back in the VH1 reality TV era, there was an entire cinematic universe of chaos before Marvel even stepped in the game, okay? It all started with Flavor of Love back in 2006. Flavor Flav somehow became America's most eligible bachelor and had 30 women competing for his love while answering to nicknames he gave them like Pumpkin, Hoops, Hottie, and the iconic New York, who launched herself into reality TV superstardom when she got her own spinoff, I Love New York. Then we got Rock of Love with Bret Michaels, and then they spin it off again with Real Chance of Love, starring 2 brothers who were contestants on I Love New York. And because apparently humiliation was a renewable resource, someone had the brilliant idea to gather all of these women who had already embarrassed themselves on national television and ask one question. What if we teach these women class and etiquette? And thus, Charm School was born. Season 1 was hosted by Monique. Season 2 was hosted by Sharon Osbourne. And season 3 was hosted by Ricky Lake, which honestly feels so perfectly 2007, right? The first season, they did Flavor of Love. And then the next season, they did the Rock of Love Girls. And then the last season was basically a mix. Pretty much every problematic female VH1 reality star from that era eventually found themselves walking through the doors of Charm School wearing 6 pounds of makeup and absolutely 0 emotional regulation. Now, the premise was wild. Every week, these women attended classes on public speaking, manners, conflict resolution, personal growth, self-respect. It all sounds wholesome until you remember these are the same women's producers originally cast because they were willing to throw a shoe at somebody. So basically, every episode became this weird social experiment where producers wanted personal growth, but they also desperately needed someone to flip a table before the commercial break. And somehow, both things would happen. And see, what made Charm School so interesting, it wasn't actually the makeovers. It was that this might have been one of the first reality shows that openly admitted that these women were characters or had been turned into characters. And the girls on the show, they would have these real conversations about anger, self-esteem, family trauma, insecurities, why they acted the way they did. And then 5 minutes later, someone gets spit on. It was emotional whiplash, both for the women and for us as viewers. But who am I kidding? We love that shit. Looking back now, though, I do feel for the mental health of all of these women because no one was protecting it. Quite the opposite, actually. If you cried, it was great television. If you had unresolved trauma, even better ratings. And if you exploded emotionally because producers kept pushing your buttons, congratulations, baby, you just scored another season. But after 3 seasons of VH1, the show lost steam somehow. Social media popped up, which means people could be famous without having to compete for Flavor Flav's attention, and audiences started shifting towards more luxury appeal type of reality TV, like Real Housewives and Kardashian type shit, That ratchet shit, it just wasn't selling like it used to. Also, I think the premise just became harder to justify because real talk, there's something very uncomfortable about putting working class women, many of whom were Black women, on television and essentially laughing at them for not knowing how to behave. In the world of reality TV today, that kind of stuff would spark conversations about class, race, respectability politics, and who actually gets to decide what makes someone classy. But with all that said, do I still think Charm School should be rebooted? Yes, absolutely. But not this version. See, people love redemption arcs. We love watching people grow. We love watching villains become self-aware. We love seeing influencers, reality stars, and internet personalities actually work on themselves. People don't want to laugh at people the way we did back in the 2000s. Whoa, we came a long way since America's Next Top Model, y'all. But seriously, audiences want to root for people now, right? So if Charm School came back today, I say, go ahead and get y'all some actual therapists, life coaches, some financial advisors, media training, the works. Not just making someone balance a book on their head while wearing heels, because apparently that's what being classy meant in 2008. Anyways, do y'all remember this show? Or better yet, did you watch this show? And how would you feel about rebooting it? No. The better question is, who would star on it today? Because there are so many great reality stars to choose from. And I think we need to start with a pool of men. Yeah. All right, y'all. And with that, the time capsule is officially closed. Until next week, that is when we dig up another beautiful disaster from our childhood.
You are listening to Selective Sanity. Selective Sanity.
Now, y'all know, as a hardcore TV and movie junkie, I can't have not one discussion without bringing up what the hell I'm watching this week. And baby, I'm always watching something. Lately, it's been a lot of Love Island, but I finally had time to visit my place of worship this week, aka the movie theaters. And I went and saw The Invite. So let's talk about it. It's a comedic drama, or maybe a dramatic comedy, either one, about what happens when this couple that lives upstairs accidentally exposes all the cracks their downstairs neighbors have spent years pretending don't exist. It is directed by Olivia Wilde. And then Seth Rogen, Penelope Cruz, and Edward Norton are in it. And when I tell you that's the entire cast, I mean, that's the entire cast. Okay, this was a very intimate bottle film where it all takes place in one location and has very minimal characters. It actually would have been the perfect stage play. Hold on. Pause for research. Okay, so it is actually based on a Spanish stage play titled Los Vecinos de Arriba, The people upstairs? Yeah, that makes sense. So if you haven't seen it, here's the basic setup. Seth Rogen and Olivia Wilde are playing this married couple like in their 40s. And before they even say much, you can already tell they're tired, okay? And they're not a bad couple. And they're not abusive. Nobody's cheating. They're just stuck in a terrible rut. They have this kid. One is working a job they hate while the other one doesn't have a job at all. And their spark is dead, okay? And they immediately get into it over the fact that their upstairs neighbors are about to come over for dinner. That's Edward Norton and Penelope Cruz. And these two walk in like sexy human espresso shots. I can talk, I swear. They're charismatic, they're brutally honest, super hot. They're just so comfortable with themselves, right? Meanwhile, Seth and Olivia are over there trying so hard to make it seem like they have their lives together. It's like, when you're talking to someone that you think is way cooler than you, and suddenly you start acting like a completely different person. That was this entire dinner. So, okay, if you want to watch the movie yourself with zero spoilers, go ahead and fast forward this segment because I'm finna get into it. Okay, so at this dinner, Penelope and Edward revealed that they throw these wild sex parties in their apartment upstairs and ultimately invite Seth and Olivia to join them for group sex. Now, if this were any other movie, this would probably be a film about group sex, but that's not what happens here. Because the invitation was never really about sex. It was more so an invitation to honesty, right? Because the moment that the boring couple even entertains this idea, every insecurity they have been avoiding for years comes flying out of the closet. And now suddenly they're asking questions they haven't asked in forever. Like, do we even like each other anymore? Why don't we have sex? When did we stop laughing together? Are we actually happy, or have we just gotten really good at surviving, which is all good and fine. I love a film that makes me reflect, right? But I was kind of expecting a hot orgy scene, not to metaphorically hold up a mirror to my own relationship, making me question if I actually appreciate mine. Hold up now. Leave me out of this, please. And then there was this depressing existential element added into it, which, already haunts me on the daily. So that was fucked up because basically you realize that Seth and Olivia don't actually hate each other. They're just grieving. Grieving the lives that they thought they would have, like when you're 25 and you think like, by 40, I'm gonna have my dream career. I'm gonna be traveling the world, and my marriage is gonna be exciting and one of a kind, and we're gonna be spontaneous and have sex on kitchen counters, blah blah, dumbass, naive bitch, blah. And then 40 finally rolls around, and instead of arguing about, which beach we about to fuck on, we're fighting about who's gonna unload the dishwasher. And that trajectory of hope would disappoint anyone. So of course you're going to blame the person standing next to you. Damn, man, that's such a painfully human thing, right? Because sometimes we're not fighting our partner. We are fighting the gap between the life we dreamed about and the life we actually have. And the resentment is misdirected as a motherfucker. Man, the more I watch, the more I realize that movies are starting to hit way differently than they did back when I was 22. Especially love stories, because back then I thought the hard part was just finding somebody. But now that I'm discovering that might be the easy part, what? The hard part is becoming entirely new people every 5 to 10 years, but still somehow continuing to fall in love with each new version of each other. That's the hard part. And sometimes it's literally about having the courage to admit that y'all may have grown as much as you can together. And weirdly enough, that is actually kind of hopeful because the movie doesn't end with this big dramatic answer. Actually, it ends with a question. Can we grow together, or have we simply grown apart? And honestly, I think that's a question that every long-term relationship eventually has to answer. So yeah, I love the movie. It was not your typical blockbuster, but there were hella laughs in the theater, and that was so refreshing because genuine comedies are so hard to come by these days. So would I recommend this? Absolutely. I think this is a great date night movie. But if your relationship is currently on the rocks, get ready to have some deep conversations afterwards. You have been warned, and I can't wait to give you more of my opinions on what I'm watching next week.
You are listening to Selective Sanity. Selective Sanity.
Now, this part of my podcast shall be deemed as my ick of the week, where every episode I let you know what's got my panties in a bunch, in a bad way. And for our very first segment, I thought I'd go with my biggest ick of all, men, specifically cis straight men. And I know that's a large umbrella, and we have so many episodes to get through, so I'm going to be even more specific. Men that prioritize the respect of other men over women. It's gross, it's tacky, and it's the number one reason for the male loneliness epidemic. And the wild part is, I don't even think men are losing good women because they don't know how to treat them. I think they're losing good women because they know exactly how to treat them, but they're just terrified another man might see them doing it. Yeah, and I realize this more than ever watching Love Island every year because these men will find a woman that they genuinely adore and then immediately switch up the second their boys notice. I mean, take the first week. They're attentive, they're complimenting, they're pulling the girls for chats, making them breakfast. Well, they do that every morning, but they're telling everyone she's their number one, right? They're thoughtful, they're vulnerable, they're emotional and emotionally available. And then one of the guys goes, "Damn, bro, she folded you already? She got you whipped like that?" And then just like that, the demonic performance begins. Because now suddenly, homeboy got to keep his options open. He got to test connections. He has to pretend he's not as invested as he actually is. So he starts giving her missed signals, pulling away, flirting with other women, not because it's what he wants to do, but because somewhere along the way, men decided that caring too much about a woman was embarrassing. And I think that's fascinating because women and men are playing two completely different games, right? Women are usually impressed by consistency, effort, kindness, emotional maturity. Women likes the guy who makes them feel chosen, safe, and actually enjoys them. Meanwhile, a lot of men are trying to impress each other by acting like they don't care. Like they have options, like no woman could ever have them wrapped around her finger. They're chasing male approval while also trying to act like they don't want the woman. Like those are two completely different performances. Your girl wants you to buy her flowers, and your boys would clown you and call you a simp. You can't appease both. You got to choose. And more often than not, these trash ass men are going to choose to appease each other. And then y'all want to come on Beyonce's internet talking about how women are the reason that men are single and sexless? How is it our fault? Did we make simp an insult? Did we claim that texting back too fast was weak? That showing effort was desperate? That emotional availability was embarrassing? No, we didn't. Y'all bitches did. It's truly like building a maze, getting lost in it, and then blaming the maze for existing. Question for the fellas. If your ultimate goal in life is to find a wife, settle down, and start a family, why the fuck are you taking relationship advice from these dudes? Like at some part, y'all gotta decide who you're trying to impress, because eventually one of two things is gonna happen, right? You either let yourself be seen caring about the woman you actually want, or you keep performing for the boys until she gets tired of wondering where she stands and leaves your ass. And then you looking around stupid, wondering what happened. Baby, nothing happened. You won the approval of the locker room, but you lost the person you actually wanted. Enjoy your loneliness, losers. Until next time, that's my ick of the week and every week.
You are listening to Selective Sanity. Selective Sanity.
All right, Santa Maniacs. Now, before I leave y'all for the week, I do regret to inform you that I have some homework for y'all. Yeah, don't worry though. My homework assignments will always be for your own good. So consider it a personal challenge. Are you up for it? Because I'm going to start y'all off with an easy one. Here's your assignment for the week. Don't hate me, y'all. And I really want you to consider doing it, okay? So for just one night, I want you to put down the phone. No doom scrolling. No spending 3 hours watching strangers accidentally ruin their lives on TikTok. Because your life just be waiting in the background, baby. So instead, I want you to put on that outfit. You know the one that's been sitting in your closet because you've been waiting for a special occasion. Baby, you are the occasion. Yeah. So after that, I want you to take yourself on a solo date. Go to that coffee shop you've been meaning to try. Hit up that bookstore you love. Attend that museum. Take yourself to dinner. Go see a movie. Walk around Home Goods pretending you're furnishing a mansion you definitely don't own yet. I genuinely do not care where you go. I just want you to go. Okay? Because here's the thing. We spend so much of our lives waiting for someone else to make life happen. Seriously, think about it. We wait for our friends to be free. We wait for a relationship to do special things with or to wear our sexy clothes for. We be waiting until we have more money or until we lose 10 pounds. And then before you know it, another year done went by. So this week, we're going to date ourselves. We are going to learn what our own company feels like because you might be surprised to find out that you are a hell of a lot funner than you remember. And that's always an important lesson. So when you do that, I want you to tag me in your stories. Send me your cute little pics. I want to see where your adventure takes you. And of course, I'll be going on one myself. So until next time, Santa Maniacs, class dismissed. Now get the fuck on with your day. I love you so much.
You are listening to Selective Sanity.